make this work are people like Isabel and Luke, who you will see walking around. So big round of applause for them. And from me and all of the speakers, a big thank you to Jack, Ben, and Rick, who are working in the AV booth today. We usually thank them at the end, and people are kind of wandering away then, so I wanted to thank them now. Okay, so now it's my opening remarks. Can you switch to the other? So this is a chance for you. I gave you a chance to talk to each other. Now this is a chance for a show of hands. How many of you have ever attempted to control a child's behavior by saying something like that? Raise your hands. Okay. Now, no, keep your hands up. Now, keep your hand up if it's ever actually worked. Wow. Okay, I'm betting that you guys are the parents of very quiet girls. Or you have a really mean look on your head. And that's it. Okay. So, I have a 6-year-old son. This doesn't work with him. Everything I've ever learned about change management, he has tested and refined in his brief time on this earth. Why doesn't something like that work for the people who said it doesn't work for them? Give me one, someone shout out one reason why it doesn't work.
Because they don't understand, what's the big deal? Why should I do
they don't understand. That could be it. That could be it. Part of it is that I started with the word don't, right? And if somebody is really not in the mood to listen, they usually don't hear the first word of what you say. They hear everything after what you've said. So to my son, it sounds like I'm saying, jump on the sofa, but in a really mean voice. Jump on the sofa, right? So he gets the wrong message, right? He has complained to my father that I have too many rules and the rules keep changing. And for our user groups, for our clients, whether they be internal or external clients, I often hear the same complaint. There are too many rules, and the rules keep changing. Sometimes it's more important from a change standpoint for people to feel heard than for people to be informed. So I took my own advice and I said, what is he trying to tell me by jumping on the sofa that I'm not responding to? And I changed what I said to him. And I changed the environment. I have a trampoline in the middle of my dining room. Yes. And we are the house to come to because all of his friends like to jump on the trampoline. But I've given him a more positive direction than a negative direction, and I haven't negated the fact that he needed to do something else, because that's what sitting still is not what a 6-year-old boy does, at least not my 6-year-old boy. So we here are involved in workplace change, and I use workplace in the largest scope of that definition. And more importantly, we are involved in behavior change. Everybody in this room is involved in some kind of transformation project. You're not doing business as usual, or you wouldn't show up at this conference. We know the value of places. The ultimate value of a place is that every single one of us has to be somewhere all the time. And sorry to my technology people, but we actually don't all have to have an iPhone all of the time to live. We do need, just the laws of physics are, you need to be somewhere. And we have actually figured out really well how to get people to gather in places. And we don't need a change management program to explain to people how to use the TKTS steps in Times Square. But something happens that's different when we design workplaces. We design very effective workplaces for people to gather, but sometimes we have to give them tips. Because if we don't say, this is a place for talking, they will whisper like this. And the buzz that you wanted, the whole reason you implemented that program, goes away because they haven't been told that little extra added behavioral message. Likewise, we need to tell them that we want you to listen. It sounds really basic, but it's a really important part of helping people thrive in a new environment. And finally, the one that confuses most people is that we actually want them to eavesdrop. We want them to get involved in the banter. If we don't do that, they're too shy to do that. If we don't tell them we want them to listen, what do? They put earphones on. It's the same thing with eavesdropping. So you need that extra added push to get them to use the environment the way you want to. Face-to-face interaction is an incredibly valuable way to communicate. You're all here today to talk to people face-to-face, to hear from people in an in-person, synchronous format. But the fact is that work is far, far too complex now to be able to collaborate with everybody you need to collaborate with in an in-person, synchronous mode. We have a lineup of speakers today who will talk to you about very successful programs where people are doing just that. They connect in person and they connect over the internet. So our first speaker of the day, not a lot of pressure, Harold, I know, but Harold Becker is going to kick us off. He is a senior design strategist at Microsoft. He spent the last 8 years of his 10 years at Microsoft at the intersection of emerging technology, industry, and sociocultural trends. He hosts global companies at the newly launched Envisioning Center.